When you walk into a candy store, it has a different like smell and aroma to it. Something you're not gonna find online shopping for candy.
I was in Chicago at the time and DoorDash was just expanding to Chicago. So I joined DoorDash in late 2014. I was responsible for getting customers, and this was like pretty early days of delivery and all that kind of stuff. So very intentionally did not hire any help or anyone else to run the store for the first 6 months. Pretty strongly, the best way to understand what you're doing and what your business is to do it all yourself.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
Welcome back to the Doughboys podcast. I'm your host, Logan, joined by my lovely Sully co-hosts Formosa McGill and Just Cisco, hitting you guys with that rebrand. Once was Flipping It with Cisco, now it is Just Cisco. Love it. We've also got a special guest here, Dylan Richter. He is a local business owner that I've been able to connect and collaborate with. He owns a candy store called The Sweet Spot. Super excited to have him in our community. And Dylan also has background with some other companies, including DoorDash, which we're going to dive into all of that. But Dylan, we're super excited to have you here on the Doughboys podcast. How are you doing?
I appreciate that. I'm excited to be here and I'm doing well. Logan, I told you this. I had like a 2-month stint with having a podcast with a friend of mine from DoorDash back in the day. So this brings me back. We had a lot of fun there.
Awesome. Full circle.
Absolutely.
Sweet. So yeah, Dylan, would love it if you could kind of start us off, tell everyone a bit about your background.
Yeah. So born and raised in the suburbs of Chicago. Both of my parents, my dad was a partner at a company that manufactures piping and valves. My mom was a focus group moderator, ran her own business. So both of them were like kind of owners, entrepreneurs, if you will, a little bit. And while I didn't recognize it at the time, I think that influenced and shaped a lot of what I eventually went on to do. Basketball was my like governing North Star for a long time growing up in high school and in college, and played in college at WashU in St. Louis, where I met my now wife. After school for a couple years, my first job was with the Harlem Globetrotters basketball team. I did digital media, social media for them for a couple years, and awesome organization, had a lot of fun, learned a lot. One of the things I learned was that they are a 100-year-old organization. They do an amazing job. They have a fantastic product, but that product is very similar and has been similar for a long time. And there's a reason they've been around that long. Like they found a playbook that works and they just execute that over and over again. So I could tell you what I'm doing tomorrow, next week, next year. And that was terrifying to me. I was very interested in figuring out something new to do every day. So decided to leave and join a startup. I was quite naive. I didn't really know what that meant. In that majority of them don't necessarily work out, but I was in Chicago at the time and DoorDash was just expanding to Chicago. So I joined DoorDash in late 2014 as their community manager of Chicago. I was responsible for getting customers, and this was like pretty early days of delivery and all that kind of stuff. So what that means is, yeah, you have like a job title and a description, but at the end of the day, you end up just doing whatever you have to do to make the business grow and make it work. So I was there for 9 years, a little over 9 years, and or under 9 years, and had 1,000 different roles. Learned an incredible amount. Worked with some fantastic people. Amazing experience. During COVID, moved from Chicago back to Hillsboro, where my wife is originally from. And continued working remotely for a couple of years, but then decided it was time for something new. And what is the next logical step after you work for a tech startup for 9 years? You go and open a candy store. So we're 5 months into the Sweet Spot, which we've been having a blast with so far. And yeah, happy to go into detail on any and all of the.
Hi, this is Dylan. Welcome to the Sweet Spot. Come on in. All right, I'm gonna start over here. This is a focal point of the Sweet Spot. 72 bulk bins, and we have a couple additional on top. Mix and match, build your own bag. We have obviously the holidays going on right now, so some holiday stuff up front. This whole wall, all these circles, we usually have like kids, novelty gifts, things like that. Right now, it's all holiday themed candies for Christmas coming up. Behind you, we got our candy Christmas tree. Not lit up quite yet, but it will be soon. We have big holiday gift, Candy Club membership. So buy one of these, they're $60. Come bring it to the bulk bins, fill it up once a month for a year. It is the gift that keeps on giving. Middle section right here, a lot of our international stuff. We're always trying to add more, but a ton of international stuff here. We all have a lot of our basic standard, your Hershey's, your Reese's, all that kind of stuff. Peg wall, just about everything you can imagine. Licorice, gummies, some more international stuff down at the end. Theater boxes below here. These center counters have a ton of more kids novelty items as well. I'm gonna show you probably the most popular one. Most kids cannot come in here without getting a pooplet. And as crazy as that sounds, I have like 6 or 7 different poop themed candies. So if you're into that, this is the place for you. My favorite section, the nostalgic section. So this shelf here, all 4 sides of it is all candies from 40s, 50s, 60s, all the old school stuff. Candies, cigarettes, cowtails, Necco wafers, all the good old school stuff. We have slightly bare, but we'll restock it this morning. Freeze dried section over here. We have rock candy below it, cotton candy, our wall of merch, t-shirts, all that good stuff. A couple holiday gift ideas, tackle boxes, things like that, pre-made gift sets for folks. Glass bottle sodas, we got about 40 or 50. Number fluctuates every once in a while, but the good stuff. Caramel apples from Bobby's in Maryville. Cheesecake from Hank's in St. Louis. Ice cream from Jenny's, started in Columbus. Now they have locations all over the place. And then the one last section I'll show, it gets dangerous up here. I stand behind the counter most of my time, so I've been known to go through many of these. The gourmet chocolate section. Chocolate truffles from Burned Chocolates in Vermont. Nice gourmet chocolate from Albanese. We are hoping that anybody that comes in here can find at least one thing they like. So that is the sweet spot.
So my first question is, how did you come up with the name The Sweet Spot? Because there's a bunch of candy stores, candies that have come out, but nothing falls off the tongue like The Sweet Spot. How did that come to be?
I appreciate that. It's an excellent question. So we were trying to figure out what to call it for a while actually, and the like abbreviated version of the story is a friend of my wife's. Um, she was like, I have an idea for the store, for the name. And that same day, my mother-in-law also had an idea for the name of the store. Those were the same names, coincidentally. And we are like, sweet spot. All right, like I think we got to do it. It was a little bit of a play on words. My wife played golf in college and kicks my ass every day that we go play now. So it was a little bit of a sports innuendo, hit it in the sweet spot, baseball, golf, etc. And then obviously candy theme there. So we thought it sounded pretty good, and yeah, it came from there.
Nice.
Sweet. And what made you want to do a candy store?
Excellent question. I have always wanted to start something. I never knew what that would be, never had ideas like I was passionate enough about or I thought was worthy of chasing down. Um, Not to get too deep into all of the backstory, we moved back because family health related stuff came back to help out, and it was a difficult couple of years doing that. So I think part of it was wanted something like fun and uplifting to do after that. I had done a lot, learned a lot, had like an incredible experience at DoorDash, but also knew that like what was next if I continued on that path or like go and join another big tech company. Like I was just not that interested in that path. So while we were here, we're going to be here for a while. We were inspired by a lot of what has happened to the downtown area of Hillsboro over the past 10, 15 years. A lot of businesses have popped up. It's like a very like cool, cute little main street now. Figured if we could play a part in that or contribute to that, it would be a lot of fun. And I actually asked everyone, I'm like the weirdo who thinks about this stuff all the time. I would ask everyone that I met when we first moved back, what's missing? What would you like to see here? Nobody said candy store, actually. But a lot of them said things for kids, things for families. And my wife and I, we have like 3 drawers in the kitchen that are all full of candy. So we kind of put 2 and 2 together. She coaches track for the high school, and the head track coach on a bus ride one day was like, just randomly like, it'd be cool if there was a candy store in town. Like I would walk up there every weekend with my girls and like go to the candy store, and just couldn't get that idea out of my head. And after doing a little research, all of the ingredients to it felt like an appropriate risk to take. It's relatively inexpensive. Shelf life of candy is pretty high, universally appealing, not that complicated or complex of a business to operate on a day-to-day basis. Now, I have since learned there's like a gazillion things that can go wrong, so we can get into that later. Um, but no, we couldn't shake it, and ultimately, my wife Katie was like, you know what, I think we should do it. She did not know that like in the background on nights and weekends, I was like typing up a 15-page business plan, so I was ready to rock as soon as she gave the green light. But yeah, once she said that, I was like, all right, it's on. We're going for it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because like, so the part of Illinois that Hillsboro is, it's really away from like the city and kind of like the main stream of things of businesses, right? But I've been to Hillsboro once, and everything there I could totally see being like picked up and moved into like a metropolitan area and still doing really well. Like you have the Black Rabbit, it's just right there. You have the Opera House, which is super cool. You now have the sweet spot that is the sweet spot of Hillsboro, and it's all super cool. It's I don't know how to explain it. You guys have your own like little utopia there because shoot, you guys even have free Wi-Fi. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah. I look, like I'm definitely a like an outsider. I was not from here. I didn't. I'm not born here. I don't know like all the backstory to it. But my observation after having spent a couple years here is that there's and I'm going to make a claim that could totally be wrong, but my hypothesis on what I'll call like small town USA is that it's significantly underserved, and there is a lot of um, talent and appetite to have businesses that like people want and like to go to. If you invest in giving, providing a good experience and treating people well, um, they will support local. That has been one of the most surprising things that kind of I've come out of the first couple months of operating this place with. There's like this intense interest in supporting the local businesses. And I think
Yeah.
it is, I don't think it's, I think it's exceptionally high in Hillsboro. I hope it is not unique to only Hillsboro, but I think this town supports each other to a super high degree and like wants all the businesses to succeed that operate here. And you just have to find people who are willing to go and open those businesses. It's not easy, but there's a bunch of people who preceded us who did it and like kind of took that plunge, and it's worked out super well. Whenever I would come to visit prior to us moving back here, I would love to go into the coffee shop, go to the movie theater, et cetera, all these places that have been around and have paved the way for it. So I think it is there's a very strong appetite to support local, and if you don't have to travel 30, 40 minutes, an hour away to St. Louis to go do
Yeah,
something, like
absolutely.
people are going to do it.
And we joked around
Yeah,
earlier about it being like a
for sure.
Hallmark movie. I mean, come on now. Who's not gonna support a Hallmark movie business that you guys have going on there?
I think about that every they have like Christmas lights lining all the downtown street now and little snowflakes on like the light poles. It literally
You
looks
guys are
like a
just missing
Hallmark
the
movie.
camera.
It's super
The
cool.
camera and the cameramen all
That's
around
right.
there with boom mics and whatnot.
That's right. We need like the overworked person from the city who goes back home and meets the good looking what yeah.
Yeah, we
Everyone
need
knows the
what's
plot
her
of
name?
this.
Witherspoon and I don't know, some maybe Leonardo DiCaprio there, then you got it.
No, yeah, Hillsboro really is, a great place for starting a small business. Very, very supportive. And if you guys aren't familiar with Hillsboro, you might be thinking, could this apply to my city? Maybe you're from a small town that does have similar aspects, where they're very supportive of small business and collaboration, working with each other. Or maybe you're not. You're not. And if you don't have that, I don't want it to be discouraging. You can be the person that kind of starts that spark. Hillsboro might have not always been this way. There's other cities that have become this way that probably weren't always that way. If you can be the person to kind of start that initiative and that movement to kind of revitalize your city, and start working with other business owners to collab and promote and support each other,
Oh,
then you can
100%.
definitely do that
And
too.
like even just going a little bit away from the city that's not too far is going to be helpful. Like one example that I can say that's here near DC, there's a city called Aldi, right? It's probably a 40-minute drive from DC, but one, the drive is beautiful, and two, the business that was started up, which now you guys are gonna laugh. At least I know Josh is gonna laugh because the Girl Scouts go there. Is a there's a teach how to sew class that they do. And so that's where the Girl Scouts get their patches sewed on. But that's like their main thing that they promote is teaching others people how to sew. Because sewing is like a lost art thing. And I feel like candy is too, right? Like you have like your main, you have your Hershey's, and then that's basically the only M&M, and then I can't really Godiva, right? And then that's all that's coming to mind. And so
Well,
I guess go ahead, Josh.
I was just gonna say, like, you're talking about the Hallmark movies, but there's a movie coming out which is like the origin stories of Wonka, right? Now, I heard actually from Logan that you did a big like golden ticket type deal at Sweet Spot.
We did. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We so I'll preface this with the movie theater
Okay.
across the street, the Orpheum. They have another theater called the Grand. They have a history of doing big grand promotional releases when new movies come out. So I remember in college, my wife showing me that they did this big thing about the Dark Knight release, and they had the Batmobile, and they had whoever the
It was
character in that.
epic. I was there.
Yeah, okay. So like it was sweet. It made the St. Louis news, and like I was like, damn, that's your town. That's so cool. Anyways, they have a history of doing this. And when we were about to open, we opened in July, we knew that the Wonka movie was coming out towards the end of the year. So we thought it would be awesome to do
Mm.
something related to this. And like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do the golden ticket in the chocolate bar promotion from the original movie. So we talked to them, and that's essentially what we did. We recreated it, localized it to Hillsboro. We made what we called a borough bar. It was designed by Danielle Sego, who is a local designer, does a lot of our stuff. She designed the wrapper for it. One of the distributors that we work with, they have a custom candy division, basically, where you can get custom stuff made. So we made a bunch of chocolate bars, of borough bars. We hid 5 golden tickets, 10 silver tickets in those. Gold ticket gets you a unlimited pass to the
That's
movies for a
crazy.
year and free candy from the Sweet Spot for a year. Silver ticket gets you a free pound of candy and a free movie ticket. And we put them out, and we thought it would be like a fun little promotion and people will remember the original movie. And then what I think actually happened was a guy named Matt Sands, who is friends with the owner of the movie theater, Carrie Eisentrout. They have a production company. They film videos for some of the businesses around here. Super, super talented. The day before we launched this promotion, they said we got an idea for a video. We shot a video in like an hour, and then that is what we used. We posted on Facebook, and that's what we used to kind of launch this thing. It ended up getting like
Jeez.
350 shares, 20,000
Jeez.
views, and just like went kind of viral and crazy. The St. Louis News
Wow.
picked it up. So it turned out to be like a much bigger thing than we thought it would be. But it was a ton of fun. People had fun with it, got to kind of relive the good old days trying to hunt
Yeah.
for the golden ticket, to win the big prize. So no, it was. I've been saying I think the stars aligned for this one. To have the movie theater across the street, interested in doing something like this, fun prizes, chocolate bars, blah blah blah. All this
Yeah.
stuff kind of lined up for this one.
Well, and I was just gonna say, like, as a doughboy, I was trying to pack on some dough, and I was trying to go get one of these Hillsboro bars, and I couldn't even get one. Like, it sounds like it was actually like the movie. Like, people were just like, as soon as they came in, you had to put in like another order, or like, what was the logistics of that? I wonder.
Yeah. So we launched it on November 14th. The movie comes out December 14th, tomorrow actually. So we wanted to run this thing for a month. In order to do that, we had a feeling that there might be a lot of people that were interested in buying bars for fun. So we staggered the shipments of bars a couple weeks apart so that we could have this thing run until the movie premieres. What we didn't quite anticipate is that like each shipment we did was gonna get sold out in like
Yeah.
literally 2 days. So we put
Yeah.
the first bars on sale, sold out 2 days. What we ended up doing, which we didn't quite plan on, we just figured it out as we went, was we put the following shipment on
Mm.
pre-order. So we let people basically
What?
pre-order bars for like a week. So what ended up happening was 75% of each shipment was pre-ordered, and then we would save some. We wouldn't put them online for sale so that people could come in store and buy them. And we had three rounds of this essentially. We are all out now. Unfortunately, there are no more burrow
You don't even have
bars.
one like locked
Dude,
away.
I'm mad. I'm
But the
mad I
fun
couldn't
part,
get
one
one.
of the
Like, I'm mad. That's just,
yeah, there's it broke my heart a little bit to have
yeah.
to tell people who came in the store that I'm so sorry, there's nothing left. What's been interesting, which I also didn't see coming, a lot of people are putting the bars in
Oh, yeah.
stockings for Christmas. So like one question everybody asks, how many gold tickets are still out there? At the moment, there are still
Jeez.
2 unclaimed golden
Can we get
tickets. But I
Yeah,
think
the
one of the
stocking
reasons is
stuffers.
because a lot of these people are using them for Christmas presents and stock. We won't know until after this whole campaign is over. Of course, they'll get their prizes if they get a winning ticket, but that's also contributed, I think, to some of the fervor
Yeah,
around it.
I'm jealous that we don't have anything like that around here. Not even gonna lie.
So, that, but like, that must have, just been fun as an owner to be like, come up with this idea and expect one thing. And then just to see people pre ordering it and coming into your store, like, I mean, the image in my mind is like in the movie where they're like piling in the door. I'm
It was
That's
not too
crazy.
dissimilar from
But
that.
then on the backside of that, you got
That
to be thinking, okay, what's the next idea like this that I could make happen? Because that was a lot of fun, right?
Yeah. So I would say yes, like always thinking of ideas. Um, but I will also say that like at the core of it, 99% of the time, this candy store is going to be just like
Mm.
business as usual operating. So I would say more time is spent not trying to think of the big. I'm going to call it a gimmick, like whatever negative connotation there is with that. Like it was awesome. I learned this at DoorDash. It was when I joined. It was a very small company. We were just launching in Chicago. Nobody knew what it was. Nobody's heard of it. We tried like literally hundreds of wacko ideas to try and get the name out there, and 99% of the time they do not work. Every once in a while you strike a chord, something happens that resonates and it works, and then like you go double down on that thing. So I think I had experience early on
Mm.
recognizing that, knowing that like not all the big crazy ideas are gonna work. So what you have to do is you got to get the fundamentals right, like the basics of the business. You have to make sure that every day that you don't have something crazy happening, the people that walk in the store have a great experience, want to tell their friends, find what they're looking for. As much as I would love to do something like this again, I very much recognize that something like this is probably never going to happen again to the same extent that this Burrow Bar thing took
Mm.
off. And that's okay. If we strike gold again, like amazing. But ultimately, a lot of the thinking and effort is put towards making sure that like each day that we're open, every person that walks in the door has an awesome experience, walks out of the door happier than they were, when they walked in, all that kind of stuff. So um, focusing, yeah, on the fundamentals is what occupies most of
Hmm.
the brain power.
So the Burrow Bar got a lot of people to know who the Sweet Spot is. So now when they come back to the Sweet Spot and they walk in through your doors, what can they expect? Like what do they see? How's the experience? How should the experience be? And what can they expect?
Yeah, yeah. So a couple of the things, and these are also lessons I learned just from the DoorDash experience. One, um, uh, uh, like choice options, call it supply, is king. So like when you walk in the door, we have over 1,000 SKUs. We want this place to be somewhere that no matter who you are, little kid, grandma, grandpa, everything in between, like you will find something that you like, whether it's chocolate, gourmet chocolate, freeze dried candy, cheesecake, glass bottle sodas. Like if you like candy, if you have a sweet tooth, even if you have a sweet tooth occasionally, sugar free, we will have something for you. So there's a lot of focus and effort on that. And then I think beyond that, we place a lot of attention on trying to make sure that everything is stocked, everything is clean. You're not walking in there with like 15 of the whatever candy bins empty. It happens on occasion. I'm not going to pretend we're perfect on that, but we want each time somebody comes in, they're able to find something they want. They're able to look around and be like, "Dang, I did not expect a place like this to be here." That's one of the things that we think is really powerful if you can kind of go above and beyond with the experience. Candy is ubiquitous. Like you can get candy anywhere. You can buy anything you want on Amazon. But when you walk in a store and you see like the original tile and the original brick and it's clean and it smells good and you have everything, like there's a sense of nostalgia and experience that we are selling, as corny as that sounds. That I
Yeah,
really believe
100%.
in.
And like when you walk into a candy store, it has a different like smell and aroma to it. It's yeah, it's something you're not gonna find online shopping for candy for sure.
Right. And oftentimes that smell is powered by alpha candles. We have a candle with Logan that we burn in rotation. That honestly, I'm not just blowing smoke here, pun intended. A lot of people walk in and they're like, "Oh my God, this smells so
Hmm.
good." So no, it's a lot of fun. It's a place where like you can't be too mad or sad going into a candy store. So I think that makes it an easy place to spend a
Hmm.
lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan, could you walk us through the logistics of actually managing everything? One specific question I have is you mentioned you have over 1,000 SKUs, so I would love to know how you manage that. But then also, manning the store, keeping everything stocked and cleaned. What do the logistics look like for
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So going into it, we thought about a couple different like categories of candy we wanted. You got to have your basics, like what you'd find at the gas station. We don't have as much basic stuff as a gas station, but your Snickers bars, your Hershey, like all the standard stuff, you got to have at a candy store. So when we were planning on opening, we thought about it along those dimensions. So like, what are the standard candies we want? What are the nostalgic candies we want? We have bulk bins, so if you've been to a place where you can scoop candy into a bag and sell it by weight, like that's one of the big focal points and fixtures. We got to have a lot of like not so typical things that we put in there. Um, Sodas, international candy. So like essentially, we bucketed it into a bunch of different categories. There are a couple national distributors that we found and work with where you can get most of this stuff from. And it was basically just like spending hours looking at their catalog and figuring out what do we like. Um, a lot of it was also derived from asking people what they wanted. So what, the kind of funny thing, the most common answer I got when asking people what candy they wanted was black licorice. Now, that is it's not the most popular candy. It's because like I was talking to a bunch of adults. I wasn't like talking to 8-year-old kids who are by far like the most frequent customer via their parents or grandparents. Um, but it started there, and then I would say we probably started with 600 SKUs, and as we went, we just built out the selection. Um, in a small town, so like juxtaposed to a Dylan's Candy Bar. I'm not associated. Big national brand that has stores in downtown New York and Chicago and all these other places. Like a lot of their traffic is tourist traffic. A lot of their business is because of foot traffic on the places they're located. Um, we don't have that in a smaller town, so you got to give people a reason to come back. In order to give people a reason to come back, we thought a lot about okay, you got candy, but like what else can we add to the selection in order to give people another reason to come and come on a routine basis? We added ice cream, some like more well known but not available in grocery stores brands like Jenny's. We added gourmet chocolates. We added cheesecake. We added caramel apples from a place 40 minutes away, Maryville. They're called Bobby's. So we tried to add more and more things that people would want. I probably have like 10 to 12 different vendors. I use Square as my point of sale. Square has inventory management system in it. I can leverage that in order to figure out when I need to restock basically. But I mean, from a logistics standpoint, one of the funny things is very intentionally did not hire any help or anyone else to run the store for the first 6 months. Like, I feel pretty strongly the best way to understand what you're doing and what your business is to do it all yourself. Any task, there's nothing, beneath you. But like, I wanted to run the store for the first 6 months. I
Hmm.
wanted to be behind the counter to figure out the efficiencies, the inefficiencies, what to try, what to solve, talking to the customers every day. Like, you can't, there is no substitute for doing that. So from that experience, like there's a gazillion things that I did wrong and would do differently in the future, and want to do differently as I get more time to work on them. But from that experience, figured out like the right cadence to order stuff. Whenever we do get big shipments, they're typically like a couple 100 pounds of candy. They come in a big pallet. They get dropped off at the back of the store. I have to coordinate with my wife or somebody else to come and make sure, especially during the summer, that like somebody can stand at the counter so I can go back before all the chocolate melts and unpack it and bring it into the store. So there's logistical things that we'll continue to evolve and we'll iterate on. But it's been a very fun game of just learning a whole bunch of new
Nice.
stuff.
And so, what goes into the decision of picking out the different candies that are going to be in there? And you also mentioned like different international candies and different sodas. So I'm definitely curious about like how you decided like what goes into the catalog of stuff that you guys have.
I want to take a quick moment to talk about this video's sponsor, Alpha Candles. Alpha Candles is a small town shop that specializes in making handcrafted candles and wax melts. With scents ranging all the way from strawberry cheesecake to ocean breeze, you are sure to find something that you'll love. So if you're in the Hillsboro area, check out our shop at 106 East Wood Street, or you can shop online at shopalphacandles.com. We even have a special candle with this video's guest, Dylan at the Sweet Spot. It's a cotton candy candle that you can find on their website.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I one of the things I think is missing in the market is just more information, analytics, call it whatever you want, about like what is most popular. At the beginning, it was a little bit of a like finger in the wind, figure it out. Some of the distributors we have a sorting and filtering function where you can see what's most popular in the past 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. So I would use that to inform what we bought. With that said, like I don't know who else their customers are. I don't know if they're all big box retailers in big cities or like small town candy shops like me. So it's kind of difficult to know how applicable that is to what we do. So the first go is like take your best guess. But as soon as you start having people in the door, um, one perk of a small town is like everyone likes to talk and gossip and chat a little bit. So I get to talk with a lot of people on a weekly basis. I have probably 3 to 5 people asking about XYZ candy. And while I can't like, say yes to everybody or get everything everyone asks for, if I hear the same themes a couple times or the same request a couple times, like I will get that candy and I will let them know. So a lot of it is also informed by people's behavior, what they get. Like a dumb example, not dumb, but we have something called a pooplet. It is a like kid novelty candy, is probably one of our biggest sellers of candy, anywhere from like 4 to 10 years old candy that's designed for that cohort. They're little like rubbery things. You can pinch it and like a little poop tongue comes out and it's little poop shaped hard candies. Sounds weird, right? Um, every single
100%.
kid that walks in the store and sees that gets one of those. So now we have like 6 other SKUs of toilet slash poop related candy. It is just like a hit with little kids, and I'm sure, and, I don't remember this kind of stuff being around when I was little, but if it if it was, I guarantee I bought that kind of stuff too, or asked my parents to buy that stuff. So a lot of it is informed by what the customer is asking for and gravitating towards.
Yeah. So one of my favorite business books, it's called Rework. Have you read it by chance?
I have heard of it. I'm admittedly not a great reader, so I may not have
Okay.
read it.
Okay. Well, you just reminded me of one of the points that they made. And so what they do throughout this whole book is they make like really aggressive statements and then kind of explain or justify what they mean. So one of the chapters is called Don't Listen to Your Customers or Ignore Your Customers or something like that. And their whole premise is you don't need to listen to every single request because the requests that truly matter, you'll hear over and over again. Do you feel like that, applies to your business?
100%. If you chase every one-off opportunity, every one-off request, every one-off, like you will go insane, and it's an incredibly inefficient way to operate a business. Um, you do need to listen, because without listening, you won't hear when like the themes start to arise. But I mean, this was super a lesson. Again, like I spent most of my career at DoorDash. A lot of it came from that. We like very, very routinely talk to customers. what I learned quickly is that the restaurant side of the business dictated a lot. I mean, all three sides: drivers, customers, restaurants. But I worked primarily on the restaurant side of the house for the most of the time. So I would talk to two or three restaurants every week, ask them like, what's happening, not just with DoorDash, but like what's happening in your world? What are you struggling with? What's going well? What can we help with? And that is what led to a lot of the innovations, a lot of the new products and programs, et cetera, that we came up with. So yeah, like your customer will tell you what they want and will lead you where you should go. But with that said, you can't chase, every opportunity, or else you'll never get anywhere. Do a couple things really well. Don't try to do 1,000 things half-ass.
Yeah, I love that. And then, so do you have any plans to also like go into the soda space? The only reason why I ask is I'm terrible to say this, but I'm a big soda drinker. And the other day I had a Rick and Morty energy drink, and it tasted amazing. And I sent it to Logan because that's Logan's favorite show of all time.
Yeah,
So if you ever decide to carry those,
yeah.
Logan will be there every single morning instead of the Black Rabbit. Just
All right,
FYI.
all right. Black Rabbit is fantastic. Continue going to Black Rabbit, but I think we have like 60 glass bottle sodas right now. We did debate early on whether we should do like an old-fashioned soda fountain. We didn't do that because it adds a couple
Mm.
layers of complexity from a health code and all that kind of stuff. And then also, I really wanted to have a format where a single person can operate the store on a daily basis, and you can't really do that if you add um, you know hand scooped ice cream and old fashioned sodas. Like you need 2 3 people at the store at any given time. So maybe in the future we'll get there, but for the moment, we're trying to operate this thing as lean and mean as possible.
So, Dylan, a lot of our audience are people who are in a 9 to 5. They have a job, but they have aspirations to go out on their own and start their own business. So, when you were able to take that leap from DoorDash to running the sweet spot and kind of being on your own, would you have any advice for someone who is trying to follow a similar pattern?
Mm, the the age old advice question. Um, yeah, I mean, like I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect time to do it. Like there will never be a scenario where you're like, oh, there's nothing holding me back. I should just do it. Like there's always going to be a reason not to do it. There's always going to be risk involved. Um, like I can only really speak to my personal experience. And from my personal experience, it kind of came down to um, how do I want to spend my time? My time became more important to me as the career went on and as life happened. Um, so it came down to I've always wanted to start something. I had this idea that like I could see myself working on iterating whatever for the next 3 to 5 years. Um, and I think it would be a lot of fun to do this. So like go for it. Um, One thing I think holds a lot of people back is they don't feel like they have all the answers. They don't know everything. They're scared they're going to fail, mess something up. Um, like find me an expert. The expert word I think is should not be used as frequently. Like every situation is unique. Every experience, every business, every anyone tries to start, like they're snowflakes. Like truly, like they are all different. So it is. I don't like people saying like I can tell you exactly how to do this or that. Nobody knows how to do everything. You're gonna have to figure it out as you go. And like if you are okay with that, if you're confident in your ability to figure it out, then you can go for it. 1,000 variables go into making a decision like that. It's not as simple as that, but I think too often people are held back by thinking they don't know everything yet, and like I gotta research more before I do it, or like I gotta get higher confidence that it's gonna work. um, that is a slippery slope that you can spend forever thinking about. So at a certain point, you just got to be like, I have high enough confidence in myself to figure it out as we go, and I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go do it. One other like more actionable recommendation is to the extent that you can test your hypothesis, um, do that. There's like sometimes a big leap between here's an idea I have and like here's what it looks like when it's 100% going. The candy store example of this, we had this idea for the candy store. We were in no like rush to open it. We knew we wanted to do it. For the holidays last year, last Christmas, we did like a one-off little magnetic gift boxes where we had a logo. We knew we were going to do this, so we were kind of already one foot in the door, but we bought a bunch of holiday themed candy. We designed like little magnetic boxes. You can put 3 cubes of candy in each box. And we went to the Christmas fair in Hillsboro, and we sold these things online, and we are like, let's see what happens. We did, I mean, I thought maybe we do like 50, 60 orders, and like that would be incredible. We had like 300 orders. So to the extent that you can test your hypothesis and know if you're on the right track, you're not going to be able to get to a 100% confidence answer on anything, but try and test it out. Go validate that people are interested in the thing you want or the thing you want to do, um, and start small if you can,
Yeah,
and go from there.
you said everything I would say almost perfectly that was going on in my head as well. Just because, kind of just to summarize the first part of what you said, the best time to start something is 5 years ago. The next best time is right now. And if you keep telling yourself you're going to start tomorrow, tomorrow will never come, right? And then one thing Logan and I have
Right.
always mentioned in the podcast, as far as like Amazon sellers and just e-commerce in general, is get that proof of concept. I think we both shared a story where we started on e-commerce finding items at the dollar store, right? That's literally the smallest that you can get, to find some products to put online, and then you get the proof of concept, and you kind of scale up from there. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you said. Now, here on the Doughboys podcast, we do a segment called the Spitfire Questions, okay? They are most times irrelevant questions that have nothing to do with the podcast, but they're just off the cuff questions. And you just, go with your gut answer, okay? Go with the
Go
dome.
with the
All
dome,
right,
baby.
first one is, what is the first app you open up in the morning? Nice.
Probably my email,
Who's
Gmail.
your favorite baller? Either basketball player or just person with a lot of money with wealth.
Oh man. I'm gonna go with the basketball player because I'm big into basketball.
Damn.
Jalen Brunson at the moment. He is from my high school. He is killing it on the Knicks. Really good guy. I like athletes who are good people. And he is, there's no
Oh,
like better
100%.
example
And
than
then,
him.
who's your favorite social media person aside from the Doughboys?
Aside from the Doughboys, oh man, I'm terrible on social media. Um, when I did it for the Globetrotters for many years, I was like burnt out on it, so I don't follow as much as I should. I'm gonna struggle right
It's okay. We'll
now.
come back. We'll come back to
Uh,
this one. Go for it.
oh, here, I'll give you not a specific person, but like my communication with my wife via Instagram DMs is
Oh,
all dog videos, puppy videos. So it's not a person, unfortunately, but it's the videos
okay. I
of
thought you were
dogs and
going
pictures
somewhere
of
else with
dogs.
that because me and my wife, we never text each other. If you look at our text chain, it's all just like from like months ago, and all of our conversation is on Instagram for whatever reason. But anyways, next question. First, favorite candy and candy that you hate the most.
So as like a candy store owner, I should have a better answer for this. I am trash. I give me a second because I can't not have an answer for this question. I get asked at the store all the time. I'm an equal opportunity candy eater, so I can't pick like a gummy or a
True.
chocolate, or else I'm doing something wrong. Milka bars, chocolate bar, um, that is an international one. There's a lot of different flavors. I love them all. That would probably be my number one from the chocolate category. From the gummy category, um, I like gummy
The
rings.
ring.
All the rings, peach, watermelon, apple, doesn't
Okay, okay.
matter.
And
Gummy
what's
rings.
yes,
And then a candy that I hate. I don't hate's a strong word. I don't hate anything.
dislike,
Um,
like the least.
yeah. You know what? Satellite
Satellite
wafers,
wafers.
I don't get why they are a candy. There's a couple people that come to the store routinely and get them. You know who you are. I love you. Um, I just don't see the appeal in satellite wafers. They don't
Nice.
do much for me.
DoorDash or Uber Eats.
Oh, DoorDash all day, baby. I'm DoorDash. I bleed red till
Do
I
you
die.
have like a mentor that you look up to?
Um, you know what? It's a good question. I don't have like a specific person. I have a lot of people that I worked with who probably earlier on in my career I would have hesitated to call a mentor, but in retrospect, I realized I learned, like many of them younger than me. Um, I learned a tremendous amount from them. So I don't have like one specific mentor, but as I've gotten older, I have realized that um, beginning of your career, you think you know it all. As you go on, you realize like you don't actually know anything. And like as time goes on, I know less and less, but I learn a lot from the people that I spend a lot of time with. So there's a lot of people, in particular from the DoorDash experience, that I would categorize as mentors unofficially, officially. That whenever I have a situation come up, I will ask them what they would do in this situation, or what
Nice.
get
And
get
then
advice from
last
them.
question to wrap it all up in a nice bow. What is a better candy store? Dylan's or the Sweet Spot?
Oh man, I'll be honest. Like we straight ripped a couple things from Dylan's Candy Bar. They have tackle boxes that look amazing. I have one in my closet right now. Ours look very, very similar to that. So like they do something right. There is an experiential aspect that they have created that like we try to emulate. Um, but I can't not say
That's what I'm
the Sweet
talking
Spot.
about. That's where it's
I
at.
got to rep.
And there's a
I
good
got to
book for
rep.
that. There's a, I think it's called Copy Like an Artist. That's, yeah, you gotta look into that book.
There's very few, not to like take this on a tangent, there's like very few novel new ideas. The hard thing is executing an idea well. And like that's where I think a lot of misconceptions lie. Candy's, again, ubiquitous, been around forever. Like it's not that novel of a thing, but putting in a format that like people derive a lot of joy from is something we're trying to do and do well. So that approach can be taken to a lot of businesses. Not every idea needs to be, the first time everyone's ever thought of this thing. You just got to execute it well.
Awesome. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for joining us. Viewers, thanks for watching. We're going to link down below the Sweet Spot website. So if you're looking for something sweet, you want to check out the Sweet Spot, definitely check out the link down below. Thanks for watching.